Hi students, I'm going to try to take this day to show you how to do some things in WeVideo. You're going to follow along and add things to your timeline as you go. Please watch the video and then I will instruct the substitute or someone to stop the video after each task, and you can do that task and then we'll pick it up from there and keep going. First off, on your dashboard in WeVideo, yours might look slightly different than mine just because I'm an administrator and so I have more on it. But a couple things to point out. Notice it says create new up here. Never start a project from this place, okay? Because I'm going to give you a specific place I need you to start a project in order for me to be able to grade it and have it all together with your classmates. So go to your projects folder. So there's different tabs at the top. Go to the part that says projects, click on that, and you will see my projects and shared with me. Everything we'll do in this class will start with the shared with me. So what you're going to do, click on the shared with me project and a project that says tutorial with Miss Johnson. Okay, so you're looking under shared with me and it should say tutorial with Miss Johnson. Okay. With that, what you're going to do is you're going to start a new project. You're going to click that down and start it. I've already got something going because this is already here. So you're going to click on it and you're going to start a blank edit. So it should look something like this. You have various different things up here at the top, and we're going to use something in each one of these so that you learn how to do it. You're going to import something. You're going to record something by narration, all of which are going to be on the timeline. So first, start a project. You're going to go to the title, which says text. It's got the A under T. Click on that one. And within there, you're going to find various different titles. What I want you to do is find a title. I don't care at this point too much what the title is. It will matter later, but find a nice centered title that you can work with. Click on it and drag it to video 2 at the top. It does matter that it's video 2 because I'm going to have you do something different with video 1 in a minute. Once you've found it and dragged it onto video 2, you're going to double click on the actual title that's on your timeline. Down here is called the timeline. Double click and you will type something in here. For purposes of this one, what I want you to do is type your name and tutorial underneath it or beside it. So I'll have that on there. You won't normally put your name on the title. Usually we put way to put your name at the end, but this time I'm having you do that because of the wanting to be able to see right away that you know how to do this and you're doing it well. Once you've done that, hit Save Changes underneath. To play any video, you start with your playhead at the beginning, and all you have to do is tap the space bar and it will play. You can tap the space bar again to stop it. You can also play it from over here. Once you have your title in the place, we're going to put a background behind our title. So if I go up here, notice stock media, my media, text, which is just where we were, audio, transitions, and background. So we're going to go to background just so that you can see what's there. And in these backgrounds, there's various different things that you can see. I want you to find a background that you kind of like or that you think is interesting and put it underneath your title slide on video 1. All right, now, so I'm going to play this by hitting the space bar. All right, now what I want you to notice on yours when you play it is, does the title contrast with the background so that it stands out nice and clear? If it does not, you're going to need to either change the background or change the font color on your title. To do that, obviously, if you're changing a background, you can just click on the background and hit the backspace button and it will go away. Then you can find a different background to put underneath it. Well, that one doesn't work at all. Okay, so this one doesn't work for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click. Other option is to double click the title slide to go back to where you were, and you can click on something and change the color, something in the color palette so that it stands out. Now on my background here, the background is longer than underneath the title. I have two ways that I can fix that. I can either make the title longer or I can shorten the background. I don't, generally, I want my title to be long enough to be read out loud before it goes away. So I'm playing it, Your Name Tutorial. So that's about the right length for this one. There are some titles that take us a little, because of the animation, need to be a little bit longer. But to shorten anything, there's two ways to do it. I click on the actual clip and I can move to the edge of the clip and I will get that double arrow on the side. I can click on the double arrow and scroll it back to wherever it is that I want it to begin or end. I can do that double arrow thing on either side of any video clip that I put in there or any still picture. The only thing that won't work is some videos have a certain length to them, and so you can only go as long as the video itself is. All right, the next thing we're going to do, we're going to actually explore audio. Now, under the audio file, there are lots of things to choose from. If I double click on any music, it will automatically start playing. And then I can just tap the space bar to stop it. What you want to do is find some piece of music that you're going to put down on the audio file down here. We're using this as a tutorial so that you know how to do it. Find a piece of music and drag it down underneath. Make sure the music starts underneath your title so that everything's at the beginning. Never leave open space at the beginning. You always have to make sure everything is all the way up to the front. All right, the next time you open your dashboard after you've closed everything out, on your dashboard, you will see the video that you've already started, the edit of it. And from the dashboard, once you've already got it started, see how it says tutorial with Ms. Johnson? It'll be in the right place. So an ongoing edit, you can just hit edit and it's already in the right place. You can keep adding to it. Now, in this section, what we're going to do is do a little bit of extra work with audio, and we're going to look at where we can find some stock media to illustrate something. Okay, so most of the time when we have our music in, we won't want it to go all the way to the end. We're going to need to cut it off. So I'm going to do a rough cut off somewhere a little over a minute. That's as much as we're going to do here. So I'm going to take it, it's about 110. I'm going to actually use the scissors. If I've clicked on the media that's chosen, I can use the scissors up here and chop it up. Then I can click the side that I want to delete, and then I can delete it by just simply hitting the backspace bar. Now, that's not going to do everything, because what we don't want to do is for it to all of a sudden go da 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 da, because nobody likes that absolute cutoff. So how we're going to do that is we're going to click on the top here on this blue line. I can click and I'm adding one of these little blue balls. What that does is it gives me an edit point where I can drag the actual volume down So what I have now is it going to go off and then fade out a little bit so that it doesn't have that abrupt start. Another way that you can do that is listen to the music and find a phrase in the music where it starts to go down again, where it's finished a phrase of music, and cut it off after the phrase. All right, once we've done that, we're going to go up here to the star. So we've been working across the screen on these various different buttons. Stock media, my media, text, audio, transitions, and background. So far, we've done text, audio, and background. So we're going to start with under the star with stock media. Now, what I'm going to do, excuse me, what I am going to recommend is that you pick a topic like school or nature or cats or something like that. And what you're going to do is use this, what you find up here, to illustrate a montage of that subject on this. So let's say I start with, okay, I got cats. I start with a cat looking around, okay? Or whatever. So 3 cute kittens. Okay, so I'm going to bring this down to the timeline on video 1, but I don't want it to be um, super long. I don't want any clip in this sequence to be over 5 seconds long. All right, now ideally, what we're going to want to do is shorten it so that it fits a phrase of music. So I'm going to play. Oh, come on. Okay, so that's kind of an end of a phrase. So what I'm going to do by clicking up here, I'm going to actually cut off that little cute little kitten thing. So I've just got a few seconds of kitten, and then I'm going to go to another cute kittens so that we've got kind of a theme going. And I'm going to listen to the music again. And that wasn't kind of a complete phrase, but it's at least a definite part in the phrase. So I've got okay, a couple other things. I'm almost done with my building of the cats. I can bring this in here. Um, and for this last one that I found that I wanted, it's too long. There's a couple of things I can do. I can click on it and actually um, I can't on this one because it's stock. Okay. I can bring this down and stick it where I want it. And it's going to ask me, do I want to replace something, all these other things? Do I want to trim it to fit the spot, or do I want to insert it and push everything down? I'm going to trim to fit so it's right there. So I have my little montage of cats all the way to the end. And from this, we're going to look at a couple other things. So most of the time, I don't recommend tons of transitions because I do believe they get in the way. They can start to be annoying. They're under the transition. They call attention to themselves rather than call attention to the photographs. Now, there are times when that's helpful, when you are changing to a completely different subject, when you're trying to kind of add some pizzazz to what you're doing. So for this project, I don't really care. I want you to add some transition. Most of the time, what you want to do is just dissolve from one to another, and you can drop those in between some of them. Please use only one flashy one if you're going to use something flashy like that. These would be considered flashy, where they're very obvious. You can see really well what they're doing. It's very clear that it's a transition versus something that's a cross blur or a cross fade where it just kind of fades from one to another. And at the very end, do a dip to black. Now, one of the things I want to notice is that my timeline got shorter when I did that. Because what will happen in order for a transition to happen, it will take away from clips on either side. So I'm going to delete this one. So this one, it has to take something from both sides of the clip in order to build the transition. And so it actually shortens your clip a little bit. That becomes a problem when you're trying to do something calls attention to itself. Or well, and you're going to lose words is what I'm trying to say. When you're doing dialogue and somebody says something, you put a transition and you lose the last syllable of the word with the transition. So you have to be careful about that. So once you've added a transition or two in, then our next thing we're going to do is go to the My Media folder. Now, if you've had a WeVideo account before for a different class or something, you might actually have stuff in here. I obviously have a lot from things that I've done in the past. If you're new to WeVideo, this will be blank, and that is okay as well. However, what I have done over here under Project Media, I have added a couple of things. All right. So I could go to my project media. This is stuff that's been shared with anybody who is in this project. And I can add something at the end. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with my cats, so I'm going to stick it over here for now so that it's just obviously something that I'm doing to show you that I can import from something else. And then I have this here that I shot. It's a little bear thing that I've shot with a green screen to show you how that works. So if I click on here, I'm going to drag that. And it's very important that you put this in video 2 because we're going to put something behind it. So to find something to go behind it, to work with the green screen, since this has been shot on a green screen, you can either go to backgrounds and find a background to put behind it, or you can go to stock media and put something behind it there. I'm going to go to stock and I'm going to add forest. It's a bear. Let's find a forest for it to go in and click on something that's some kind of a foresty thing or something that you want to work with. This might be something where you may or may not want something that moves. You might want to pick a still photo up here under images so that it doesn't look like the bear is traveling through space. This looks like a good forest floor. So I'm going to put that down here. The good thing about still images, it also lets me stretch it out for the length of the clip. Now, what I have to do from here, I'm going to double click on the actual bear with the green screen and go up here to the one that looks like a portrait. Click on it, and using the eyedropper, I can move the eyedropper over here, click on it, and it will get rid of the green. Now, I still see the girl's hands. It's not perfect, but it does allow for it to look like it's in the space. I can also, once I have done that, I can go back over here to this animation bar, and I can actually move it to place it at a different place in the screen. I can even scale it to be smaller so that it fits in there in a little better place, and hit save. So now what I can have is my little teddy bear. In summer, nobody makes sport because it's hot. Okay, now this was an actual commercial that was shot for a student. So what you can also do with this is double click on the audio on it, go up here to the audio, and I can mute it so that we don't hear that. And we're going to add our own audio underneath it. Now, this has got the animation where it's moving forward. I can stop that if I go back to my animation and make the end the same place as the beginning. It's a little bit tricky to do that, but that's the reason it was moving, is because the end and the beginning was different. All right. So we've started a project in the right place, going to projects. We've added a title slide with a background behind it. We added music underneath for around a minute, and we have placed a series of photographs and or video clips. My preference is video clips, timed each about 5 seconds or so a piece, to create a little montage. Then we found something under the project media and added that to the video. We have also taken the little bear photograph or video and placed it on the video too, and we found a background that could go behind it. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to record an audio line to go underneath this bear. So, going to take a second, and in your best bear telling a story, write 2 or 3 sentences for you to say with the bear telling a story. You can use a nursery rhyme. You can tell what like bears like to eat. Get creative. Doesn't have to be long, but you need to write something out now so that you have something you can record. All right, I have a couple of things to share with you about the mechanics of working with WeVideo that I haven't explained yet. And then I will also record a voiceover, and then you'll have the rest of the time to just kind of make your little sample tutorial and play with the program. So first off, down here, which is very important, is a slider. This slider allows you to see, it just is like a view, like seeing something at 100% versus 300%. It's very important when you're trying to cut off sound. For example, up here, if I want, or like on my audio, if I was trying to listen to something and I was trying to find a place where the sound maybe had a little bit of a break or a dip in it, like right there, I can place my playhead there, hit the scissors, get rid of the old stuff, and that gives me a more natural place to fade something out. If you're trying to do something where you're trying to like cut off a phrase or a hiccup or a bell that showed up in the middle of nowhere, then that's a good way to get rid of those things and to be able to fine tune your edit a little more by stretching things out. And then you can collapse it again to be able to see the whole thing together and how it's going to work. The other tool that I use a lot is to draw something and group a group of items together. I click and then just drag, and that allows these 3 items, for example, to move in unison as opposed to moving separately. That allows you to um, be able to group things together and move them in unison. That once again really becomes important if you like work out something where you like the sequence and then you end up having to add something before it. Let's say I did all of this and then I did all of this and then I was like, oh, I want a different photo in there. I can do the whole thing down, drag a different photo in there, and then I'm good to go. Similarly, if it's like, oh, there's a hole there, I was going to put something there, I don't need it, I can draw a box and move the whole thing down. Now I'm going to show you how to do a recording. In class later on, we are going to work at learning to do a recording with microphones. Right now, you can, if you have headphones and you want to plug those in, the headphones that have microphones attached, like the earbuds or whatever, you can do that. Those will give you a really good sound. Otherwise, you're just going to use the sound on your Chromebook. You're going to go up here under audio, I'm sorry, under My Media. I was wrong. Under My Media, and that's where you're going to find the button that says narrate. I'm going to click the narrate button, and um, that gives me a place that I can record. Then I can hit record, and then you can read after the countdown what it is that you recorded. So I've got the beginning of a story. Once upon a time, a little bear was alone in the forest. He was very, very sad and hungry. He yelled for help. Help! 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 And then he heard a sound. Like I said, only the beginning of a story. Now, once you get to this screen, you can either hear it replayed. So I've got the beginning of so I can hear it replayed, or I can click here and save it to my timeline, or I could click here and just record it again. For this purposes, I'm just going to save it to the timeline. And notice what it did. It actually added another audio line underneath. And so it added another audio line completely underneath, and I can play this, and I can trim this clip like I would anything else, and I would actually beginning of a story. So you notice I said something here. I want to get rid of that, so I'm going to click and I'm going to scroll it back so it starts here, and then I'm going to bring this to the beginning of my story. Then what we're going to do is we're going to do one more thing. We're going to group these together, and we're going to cut it off at the end of your story, so that we cut it off at the end and we've got nothing extra at the end. Like I said, you only had to have the beginning of something, 2-3 sentences. It's only a few seconds long, but that way you have done almost everything there is to do. Almost. There's actually quite a bit